Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of your OGR, as today is game 8 as the Edmonton Oilers went up against the Seattle Kraken for the very first ever time, and we beat them 5-2 as we improve our record to 7-1, which is just absolute amazing start here for the Edmonton Oilers. It really is. This is just the start that, I really wasn't expecting the Edmonton Oilers to have, I thought the defense was just going to be absolutely horrid. I didn't think our offense was going to be this good, which our defense is horrid. It doesn't look very good, which we are going to be talking about that in today's episode, about how bad our defense looks and how we just really can't play defense. But otherwise, our offense really carries the team. It really does. Draisaitl's been playing amazing. You have Nuge who's also been playing amazing. Just a lot of Oilers contributing to our success right now. But before we get into all that, I'd like to just say, if you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. That'll be very much appreciated, boys. So let's get into talking about this game. Let's get right into the OGR, as let's get to the goals, and then how we usually do it is review the lines right afterwards and, talk about each individual player and how well they played throughout the game. And, the first player that scored the first goal was Leon Draisaitl, who had probably his best game. He's had a lot of good games throughout the season, but he was really the main guy out of this game. It wasn't just McDavid, it was Draisaitl who played a really good game throughout the entire game. He was just on the ball even more than McDavid throughout this game, I gotta say. Draisaitl just was that big man here throughout the night for the Edmonton Oilers, but he got the first goal of the game. Barry basically tried to pass it down to Draisaitl, and it legit just went off the skate of Leon Draisaitl. It was the goofiest goal I've ever seen, and this was a really goofy game because somehow Ryan Nugent-Hopkins got his skate lace around Vince Dunn's skate. I don't know how it happened or what the hell happened, but it happened. I don't know how Nuge got his skate lace into Dunn, but it did, and that was one of our power plays that happened. Or no, we were actually kind of dominating in their offensive zone. We were getting a lot of good chances, and then of course a stoppage play had to happen because Nuge's skate lace got stuck around Vince Dunn, which was just absolutely funny. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, you tuck your laces into your socks. That's what I used to always do, so I don't step on them or they get tied up like that, because I had to get a little chuckle about that. That was pretty funny. But moving forward, really nice lucky goal there by Leon Draisaitl to put up his 6th of the season, putting that one right in the back of the net. And then Jaden Schwartz got his first goal of the season as he dangled right past Darnell Nurse and put a nice backhand through Mikko Koskinen. Now, this was both Koskinen and Darnell Nurse on this play. Now, this could have been stopped way before it even hit Mikko Koskinen. It should have been stopped when Darnell Nurse was playing defense against Schwartz. Now, I don't know exactly what Darnell Nurse was doing. It looked like Jaden Schwartz was coming straight dead onto him, and then he kind of went side and then went to the right? He did the little fake juke to the left. Darnell Nurse kind of bit, which he was doing a lot throughout the night. I don't know what Darnell Nurse exactly was doing in that play, but I don't know exactly what Darnell Nurse was doing throughout the entire game. He was one of his worst defensive games. Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard both really didn't have a good night throughout the entire night. And Darnell Nurse, with this really dumb defensive play, he tried to latch onto him when he was flying by him, instead of just trying to poke the puck out of his hands, because Jaden Schwartz was really having that speed. He was going to get past Darnell Nurse no matter what, but if you poked the puck out of his hands, he might have been able to do something. But Darnell Nurse decides to try to grab onto him, which, he wasn't able to. It got right by him and right into the back of the net as a nice backhand, which Koskinen was deep into his net, so he wasn't able to read the backhand very well, and it went right into the back of the net. Definitely not, the first 5 minutes that we wanted to see. Of course, we see a beautiful goal by Draisaitl, and then, the Seattle Kraken bounce right back with a great goal there from Jaden Schwartz. And I think, we got to play better defense. And I know that's going to be hard to ask for this team because, out of these 8 games, we've had really bad defensive games out of every single one of them. We've almost had a shutout in the last game, but it didn't happen. It's because, we don't play very well defensively. And I don't think we're going to be seeing very many shutouts throughout the season where we're actually going to be seeing a very good defensive game. We've seen Duncan Keith a bunch of times bail because, one little stick handle and then he bails. He looks old and kind of what I expected from Duncan Keith, he's actually, above my expectations offensively. He's actually not playing that bad, But the thing is, his skating just seems so sluggish, and me and Perla were talking about it a lot, which I wanted to kind of dissect Duncan Keith's game as well, is that the biggest thing I've been noticing with Duncan Keith is that his skating's gone. And that was his biggest key when he was in his prime, was his skating. His skating was phenomenal when he was in his prime of his career. He was actually able to play very well defensively, but every time you see him going into the boards, he kind of gets a little scared, and every time he sees a guy come after him, he goes really slow into the boards, and instead of going straight dead onto the puck, he like tries to poke it and evades the check. It's like he's afraid to take that check, but not just that, he's afraid to play the puck when it goes up against the boards because he's not fast enough anymore. And people who say that Duncan Keith is good, yes, he's not terrible. You know, he wouldn't be a terrible guy if he was a top 4 guy, or a top 6 guy, but since he's, you know, are one of our top 4 defensemen, it's not good. It really isn't that we're relying on Duncan Keith this much and playing him almost 20 minutes a game when he's not even that good of a defenseman. But anyways, moving forward, Leon Draisaitl got a very beautiful power play goal. Now, this was actually a beautiful setup pass by Barry. Sends it all the way over to Nuge. Nuge got it over to Hyman. Hyman set up Leon Draisaitl, and he just laid it right on the back of the net for his 7th goal of the season and his 2nd goal of the game, which was absolutely beautiful. I absolutely love the goal that I seen from Leon Draisaitl, his 7th goal of the game. And, you know, this first period wasn't too bad for the Edmonton Oilers, and this play was absolutely amazing. The setup passes from everyone, from Hyman getting his 2nd assist over to Leon Draisaitl. And Nuge, he's been a passing machine to start this season off. He really has. 11 assists on the season in 8 games. He's really just been phenomenal passing that puck. He really hasn't been focused on scoring goals, but he's been passing the puck phenomenally and being amazing on the power play, and even on 5-on-5. He's been looking really good as well. But throughout this first period, I thought the Edmonton Oilers played an alright game. You know, we played an alright game against the Seattle Kraken where it was definitely back and forth. I felt like near the end of the period, Seattle definitely had a little bit of an edge, which carried right into the second period as well, where I thought the Edmonton Oilers just stopped playing throughout the second period. You know, we got that one goal from Duncan Keith where, you know, he stepped up at a very good time, and that's what I mean. Duncan Keith offensively is not terrible. And Leon Draisaitl, basically, he was taking the puck up. He wasn't able to get a good shot off, and Duncan Keith just took the opportunity to go drive right towards the net because he's seen a big juicy rebound, shot right to the back of the net, got his first goal of the season and his 1200th game as well this year, which is just absolutely incredible there for Duncan Keith. So he put up a big one to put us up 3-1. And then right after that, we just didn't play at all, and Seattle just really dominated us throughout, you know, that first half of that second period. It was like 11-2 for shots. Midway through the second, we were absolutely getting demolished by the Kraken, and then we started pushing back a little bit. But then Susi got his 2nd of the season with a beautiful snipe on Mikko Koskinen. It was a play where Slater Cuckoo stepped up a little late, left Barry by himself, and we know that Barry can't play defensively. Barry took one guy, Shore took the other guy, and Karsi Susi just stepped up. He was left wide open. Turris didn't cover him. Nobody covered him. And he just took the shot, put it right to the back in the net. And then in the third period, the guy that I was dissing on the entire game, Kyle Turris, which we are still going to be dissing on him. We're going to be talking about this 4th line right after this. But Kyle Turris, who was just standing right in the front of the net and got a beautiful pass there by Devin Shore. And Turris put up his first goal of the season to put us up 4-2. And then my boy, Kailer Yamamoto, got a beautiful goal as finally the Amster finally got a goal. Oh my God, I've been waiting for this forever, man. He has not been producing a whole lot of goals, and finally, I'm hoping this kicks the drought that Kailer Yamamoto's been on. And this is one of the best games for Kailer Yamamoto as well. He was dashing all over the place, producing a lot of energy, getting a lot of goal chances, playing really well defensively. He was just doing a lot of things for the Edmonton Oilers, and I think, honestly, that dynamite line between Nuge, Yamamoto, and Draisaitl had a phenomenal night all night long. They were really one of our best lines. They were even better than the first line throughout the night, and that's what we want to see. And that's why, you know, these guys need to be broken up between McDavid and Draisaitl. But before we get into that, I would like to talk about Yamamoto's goal, where he got a beautiful setup pass there by Draisaitl, and then Yamamoto just went forehand, backhand, right into the right through the wickets of Decor, right through the 5-hole, baby, and put it right into the back of the net, and got his first goal of the season, and his first goal in a long time. I think it's been since like last year of January he got a goal. So it's been a long time for Yamamoto to finally get a goal in the back of the net. So I'm very, very happy to see that. But moving forward onto the lines now and talking about the top 6 being broken up between Draisaitl and McDavid. And the reason why I was talking about it a lot is because this just works better. It really does. Because if McDavid's not going that game, then maybe Leon Draisaitl might not be going that exact same game as well, right? It's better to split them up because, if McDavid's not having a hot game tonight, then, Leon Draisaitl could step up and put 4 goals himself, right? That's the biggest thing with splitting these two guys up. And that's why I like to see it, because they need to be split up. That is the way it works. These two guys, I love seeing them play together, but at the exact same time, they need to be split up because we could have 2 really good lines between McDavid playing up on the top line with Hyman and Puljujarvi, and then also Leon Draisaitl playing with Nuge and Yamamoto. It just works better. And these guys have been they actually have identical points. Draisaitl has 17 points in 18 games, and same with Connor McDavid with identical goals and assists, which is just absolutely amazing to see. These guys have been just ripping up the league to get everything started, and like what they're predicted to have like 140 points, almost near 150, which if they do, that is just going to put my jaw to the floor, which it already is. They're already producing way too many points. It's just absolutely crazy to talk about. But our top 6, I don't think really has anything to complain about, but for the fact, McDavid, he had a kind of a quiet game, but even for him having a quiet game was still really good. And also the refs. I also want to talk about the refs because the last few games, the refs have been not calling calls when they should be calling stuff. And it's not even just against McDavid. There was a lot of missed calls where Shar got absolutely demolished by Tanev, and he even had the puck. It should have been blatant interference, but the ref just sat there and watched it, Shore get demolished. And, I'm not a big fan of Devin Shore, but when there's a missed call, it should be called. Like, no doubt about that. And it just wasn't called. It was an absolute joke, and there was a lot of missed calls against McDavid. And, we should be going on a power play for a lot of those chances. We should. And it seems like the refs, and from what I've been reading on Twitter, it seems like the refs are trying to not give us as many penalties because of the fact that our power play is so damn deadly. It really is. We have 48%, 47% on our power play. It has been absolutely nutty how powerful our power play is to start off the season. And I don't know if it's going to get nerfed later on because our power play is just crazy lethal to start the season off, even more lethal than what it was last year. And there was a lot of weaknesses, and I feel like Hyman's just been a huge guy been added to that power play, because I know I haven't really dissected the power play very much either, because there isn't very much to talk about. It's crazy good. Last year I was complaining about Chason always playing and Neal playing on the power play. Now we actually have Hyman and Puljujarvi cycling through that top unit, which is actually working better. And I cannot believe that, Wouldn't you know, when you take Chason and Neal off the power play, our power play actually works better. Wow, I cannot wait for us to take Barry off and throw either Bouchard or Nurse up on the top unit, because I bet you not, it would be way better than what it is now. And that's saying a lot, because it could be even crazier good, even more crazy. But I'm loving the power play. It's looking really good, especially with Hyman on there. I feel like he's that one link we were missing, because every time Chason picked up the puck, it seemed like he lost it. But every time Hyman picks it up, he battles in the corner. He keeps it alive for us in that zone. And I absolutely love Zach Hyman on the power play. He's just such a useful member of that power play. But moving on to the top 9, which I'd like to talk about the top 9 a little bit, because I seen a post from, if you guys go check him out, NHL_Sid. I absolutely love him. He dissects every single game, and I use a lot of his analogies for the games as well. But taking a look at some of the stats that he pulled up from Natural Stat Trick for bottom 6, and talking about without 97, 29, and 93, which is McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nuge. So this year, goals for percentage is 41.7%, which is definitely a little bit higher than what it was last year. Now, goals for the bottom 6 is 5 goals for and 7 goals against, which now would be improved to about 6 goals for and 8 goals against for that bottom 6, which is still not fantastic. On the third line really had a bad night between Zach Kassian, Warren Foegele and Derek Ryan can speak English, but they had a really bad night. They weren't producing a whole lot of goals expected, but they weren't playing terribly defensively, I guess, but still not phenomenal. Every time Warren Foegele picked up the puck, he would go and battle for it, and then he would initially lose it right afterwards. Cassian wasn't doing a whole lot throughout the night, and same with Derek Ryan. He was all right throughout the night, but that's the biggest thing. Our third line needs a little bit of a change. I'd like to maybe see Benson maybe be moved up to the third line, and also this stupid fourth line. I don't know what Tippett sees in Kyle Turris and Devin Shore, but we're going to be seeing them for the next 10 games because Kyle Turris scored a goal. Woo! But Turris and Shore are absolutely horrible. I cannot stand. I was taking a look at their analytics, and I don't understand why we're not playing Scurvio. He is better than both of them combined between Devin Shore and Kyle Turris. I don't know why we're not playing Scurvio. He's better defensively. Not just that, he's better offensively, and we are not playing him, but yet we're playing a bum-ass Devin Shore and Kyle Turris, who got bought out by the Nashville Predators, and his contract is on for like the next 8 years that his buyout length is. It is nutty. The reason why we got Kyle Turris and the reason why we got Devin Shore locked up for the next 2 years. Everyone was like, oh, he's just going to be a depth player. No, Devin Shore is going to be a full-time NHL player for us, and I don't understand why he is. I was pissed off when we got to see him and Zach Kassian play alongside a Nuge for most of the playoffs, but now we have to digest him for playing on the fourth line when he can't even play on the fourth line. He doesn't even know how to handle his stick, dude. He was skating, and for some reason I had one hand on his stick, let it go, and he got a high sticking penalty because he doesn't know how to hold his fucking stick and put two hands on it. It is crazy how bad that fourth line is and how it's just an AHL line. It is crazy. Benson was actually playing all right throughout throughout the game, and was actually one of the guys that I was actually very, very happy about to see. Legit, Turris, all he does is go after the puck, and then once he sees it gets past, he just does circles. That's all he does. The entire game is just does circles, and every time he picks it up, he bobbles the puck and takes too long to read the play. He is so far behind. I don't care if he's worked out. I don't care. The way that he reads the game is just, he doesn't do it anymore. His offensive awareness is gone. His defensive awareness is gone. He cannot play hockey anymore. He's not an NHL player, and he just does not play very good. And now I'm not a big fan of ripping on players like this, which, I always do. I always rip on Tyson Barrie because I feel like Dave Tippett should know. I feel like Holland should know that these guys are not good. Like, seriously, it's not hard to see that these guys are not NHL-worthy players anymore. They are not. They are AHL-worthy players. They're not NHL players anymore, boss. Come on, man. They did not play very well, and we need to, do something with the top nine right now because it needs a little bit of a switch up. It needs to stop being the same. We need to switch up something in that, and I wish we kept up Ryan McLeod because I feel like he would be a better player to throw in that third line or even the fourth line right now for the Edmonton Oilers. But moving forward, we'll talk about the defensive lines. Nurse and Bouchard had a really rough night. We already kind of talked about Nurse. He let a lot of people go by him. He was puck watching a lot, and I think that's the biggest thing I see out of Darnell Nurse is he loves to puck watch. He really, really does love to puck watch throughout the entire night. That's all he does is just puck watch, and he needs to stop doing that. He just needs to stop puck watching. He needs to pay attention to the chest. Keith was falling on the ice all the time. Like, Eberle beat him out. Like, legit, Jordan Eberle beat Duncan Keith for the puck in a puck battle, and Keith fell and had an amazing opportunity for Jordan Eberle, and people think Duncan Keith is a good defenseman. The plays I've seen throughout this night for Duncan Keith shows that he's not very good defensively and that he cannot skate anymore, and it was absolutely horrid the way that Duncan Keith was playing throughout the entire night. I just don't have anything else to say about him but for that. And Cuckoo and Barrie, they played all right. They didn't have a bad game. They didn't make too many big mistakes but for that one goal against on them, but even then, that was just a really good play there by Seattle, and Susie just beat Koskinen on his weak side. But this has been a long video already, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. watching. And yeah, for now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Also, I will be live tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific between the Ottawa Senators and the Minnesota Wild, so make sure to tune into that. And for now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.